Started. Okay, fine. So let's go into the thing. Sure. Okay. भाई तुम्हारी लॉस है. I have opened this game, both Nivedita and Anirban. This game actually made me a bit, I should say, hilarious as well as kind of. It was like the perfect example through which I can explain the anomalies of both night as well as slow. Okay, we will discuss this after my study thing, and I will show what could have been done differently with the time constraints. If you notice today, first of all, I've given just 45 seconds today, as opposed to 30 seconds daily. Did you notice that? Okay, endgame studies. Yeah. Did you notice that I have given 45 seconds? That is 15 seconds extra than what we had till yesterday. Did any of you notice that thing? नहीं, दैट्स ओके. मतलब किसी ने देखा इस चीज को कि मैंने आज ज्यादा टाइम दिया था, 15 सेकेंड ज्यादा दिया था, राइट? Why I gave 15 seconds extra was the reason that knight versus rook is pretty much tricky and difficult as well. I mean, not difficult if you know the technique, but you must know the technique, right? तो वही बात है. चलो, let's jump in now. Is my screen visible? Just confirm me once. Is my screen visible? Yep. Now it should be visible. Okay, let's go. Notice the position. You asked that is it win for a rook? Yes, it is win for a rook. See, minus 3.8. Okay, the move has been also made visible, but fine. Minus 3.7 आ रहा है, so it's a win for black. But हम नाइट है, नाइट हमारे पास है, तो वाइट इज ऑल्सो प्रेटी मच कॉन्फिडेंट कि यार हम ड्रॉ तो निकाल ही लेंगे. विन तो चलो दूर की बात है, बट वी कैन derive the draw. Okay, let's dash white's hopes today. So first of all, analyze the position: h3, g2, f2, e4, d3, b4, and a5. These pawns are there on the white side, along with the knight on c4 and with the king, obviously. Black has h7, g6, f5, e5, d6, b7, and a6 pawn. Okay, I hope it is clear. The positioning is pretty much clear. If you count the number of pawns, both have one, two, three, like one, two, three, four, five, six, and 7. And here also one, two, three, four, five, six, and 7. 7 pawns each, and white has a knight, black has a rook. So black is technically an exchanger and should win the game easily. Let's dive in. First move. It's black to move here. What would you suggest me? Just write it in the chat pretty quickly. What do you suggest as black here? Now you don't have the time pressure, no constraints. Think for 5 seconds and answer me in the chat. F5, okay. Any other move? Please, at least 2 3 people give answer. F5 is one. B5? Acha, pawn B5. Don't write P for that. Just B5 is enough. Okay, B5. Fine. Any other move? Any other move, please? Just write in the chat. King F3. King F6 बोल रहे हो क्या प्रणव? It is 6 bro. 6. King to F6. Okay. King F6 is another choice. Fine. Okay. Any other choice you can write in the chat. So first of all, Shrujal, yes, Shrujal suggested B5. Pawn to B5. No need to write P. It's B5. Okay. Actually, it's first of all black to move, right? So we have to make this B5. Okay. So Shrujal has touched the point of n percent here as well. Okay. What's the fault with this move? Can anyone write me in the chat box? Now white is completely winning. Okay. He is not drawing. This is winning position for white. Can you write the move here? White pawn takes black pawn. Which coordinate? Please write the coordinate, please. And pass. Okay. B6. You mean A takes B6. Sure. Okay. Remember n percent, guys. This was the mistake that is completed by everyone today. Okay. -3.7 पे थे आप आपने खेला B5 and it's see 0.7 पे आ गया and this is computer practically तो I think this is lost for me. ठीक है honestly बता देता हूँ this is a big win for white and computer भाड़ में जाए we can just play AB6. That's kind of game over now. Okay, this is n percent. I will just write it here. Please remember this. You have all made this mistake again and again today. N percent made. Hmm. So b5 is entirely wrong. It throws away entire advantage. Shrujal bro, did you understand it? You wrote the move b5. N percent throws away the win for black, and it is completely a boom. Okay. Another move, king f6. I will just annotate it more harshly. Blunder. Yes. This is the best annotation I can give. King f6. Okay. Now with king f6, the okay, that's not a bad move. But what am I exactly trying to achieve? What if I play king h2 with white? We are not getting anything clear here because I can continue as king e6, g4, not allowing the f5 or yeah f5 is possible, but okay, let's play f5 here. Then g f5, pawn takes and f3, not and not e takes f5 here. This loses the control. We yesterday discussed about control point here. Knight can come to e3 and then to d5. These points are there. Please don't forget about control anytime, anywhere. Okay, pawn takes, just play f3. Okay, so black plays d5, and now you can play either knight e3, which is a good move, because or even a bad move. I don't know. But it's surely not bad because d takes e4. You have to take back and then takes and then follow. Oh, sorry, it's for me. Rook to c3. Yeah, rook to c3 and knight to d5. This and you win the pawn. There is no way to defend this. Both will be captured and you win the pawn. So black has a good advantage here. But यार इतना सोचने का टाइम कहाँ होगा प्रणव भाई? How will we get this much amount of time? We have only 45 seconds today on the clock, and in match situation, you will not even have 15 seconds or even 30 seconds. इतना कैसे सोच लोगे? It's like 9 moves. Even though it is end game, we cannot think like this, right? So there must be some strategy to follow. So let's go back to our initial position. Here, the best move is to play f5 directly. Why? If my thought process says that b5 is not possible because of n%, so I will not even see b5 here. Okay. My thought process also says I have to play d5 here, but not now because knight can first of all take on e5. And why I want to play d5 is because I want to remove this knight from here. Okay, my thought process says that I should somehow play this pawn to d5 without compromising on the protection of this e pawn. Are you able to understand the idea? Please put a thumbs up. Are you able to understand it? If not, please comment or unmute yourself. Are you able to understand why we are not going for why we need d5 here? Why we need d5? Okay, we need d5 because we need to remove this knight. We need to grab the space on e4. That is the two major points we need to cover. And if this pawn takes it, it's a major win for us because we can activate a king to d5. Okay, I mean the only way to push the pawn to d5. I will just remove all the arrows here. Uh, only way to push the pawn to d5 is to somehow bring this king to e6. अब king घोड़ा तो चलता नहीं है. King doesn't move like a knight, right? So first of all, we need to play f5, or even king f6 is possible, but it's like you don't get any clear thing at all. So play f5. Now, what does f5 achieve is f5 is the main variation. I will promote this up. f5 क्या achieve करता है? What does f5 achieve is it hits on the control of white. Now you are giving an opportunity to white to go wrong. That's exactly what I can comprehend from here. ठीक है? You are giving the opportunity for white to go wrong. Okay, so basically, just one sec. So here white can play knight e3, aiming to go for d5, or white can also go fe5, or white can also go to f3. Okay, knight e3 is pretty much active, good move actually. King f6, knight d5 check, king e6. Now you don't have any clear cut paths to go for a win here. Okay, you can play f3 now as well, and you are blocking d5. Okay, so f3 up खेलोगे. So can I play g5 here? Any thoughts? Can I play g5 here, guys? Put yes or no in the chat, please. Can I play g5 here? Is g5 possible? Suppose you have only 10 seconds on the clock and you have to think something. Can I play g5 here? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Why not no, Nivedita? Can you just provide some insights to us? Okay. But it's not okay. I will explain this once. G5 can be played because if you say black takes here, you can take with the king. Okay, king is active, and that's what I said was king has to somehow reach e6 in order to go for d5 control. Okay, so g5 is possible. We can play it, and it stops h4 from coming as well. And white doesn't have any good moves to make here. That's the truth. The knight can stay here as long as it likes. We can just move the king and then h5. We are having an easy life here. King e3, g4, hg, 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 okay, fg, and then yeah, fg. I mean, we are two pawn. We are not pawn yet up, but still it's a playable position now. And if you see, white black rook can travel anywhere from c2 or c1 or c8 I mean, what it can do is it can go here, it can go here, or it can also attack the G pawn. And this is a tricky position. Let's continue from here. What do you expect white to play? Any suggestions? Any suggestions what to play as white? Come on, you need to defend this as well, right? If this position happens against some good players, you need to defend it as well. So think from both the sides. The black has limited moves means we have to think less now. That's what we need in an endgame, right? Black has limited moves, and that's why black is good. White has so many moves, he has to think various alternatives, and if he goes one thread wrong, he's gone. The game is completely out of his hands now. So, okay. I think we can play king f2 here as white, going for king g3 and this pawn. I can go rook c2 check, king g3. Now don't worry about the g4 pawn here. Just play rook d2. Okay. King cannot take this because we will take this pawn with a check. King f3 and rook d2, king e3, rook d1, and this continues. Knight c3 or something. I mean, something. It's there. For example, rook c1, king d2, rook h1. They are just moving away everything, and knight can again come to d5. So it's like rook here, and it will take a lot of maneuvering. Okay, rook h8 or king b3, rook c8, and it will take some time to solidify this position. I don't know if it's a draw or not now. It's showing -1 here, so it will take time. Okay, so one thing is fine here. f5. Best move is 93. Note this, because white also has to play the best move here. Okay, that's why I said that this endgame is far more difficult to convert it when you are playing with the black. Okay, many of you played f3 here. Okay, I will show you one game of mine only. Uh, I played as black. And who I played? Yeah, it was this guy. Yes, f5, f3. Okay, and then king f6, king f2. There was one of you who played this king f2. So here, if I play king f6, king f2 was the move. Again, there is a chance to play knight d3 here. After king f6, you can play knight d3. It's a good move to play. Knight d5 is coming ahead, and it's good time to give check now. Okay. And now king f2 followed by rook b1, knight d5 check, king e6, knight c7 check, king d7, or yeah, knight c7, king d7, knight d5. Okay, and here we can go something like rook b2. Now what will you play is like if you go here, then it's a check, and you have to give up the knight here. And if you go king g3, then I will play h5, h4, f4. Black is white is in a cage. Okay, and something like this would do the job for black. I mean, this pawn is going for free, and now white can play knight f6 here. I can go king c6. Does anyone have any question why king c6 only, not e6? Why not e6? Why only c6? Any suggestions? Any question? Why not king e6 and only why king c6? I will explain. Please ask if there is any. Or where king f3 exactly? I lost it. At which point king f3? King f3 तो कहीं आ ही नहीं रहा. Where? अच्छा, okay. Let's.
When you ask that what white should play.
I'm not able to hear properly.
Hello, am I
Yeah.
audible?
हाँ हाँ बताइए.
When you ask that what white king should be playing at that point.
Before f3.
Um,
Just one second.
when you played f2, king f2 for white.
अच्छा king f2. But यहाँ पे f3 is not coming, right? Here we have king e3 or king g3.
Uh, Not here, the previous condition. It's
Okay, okay,
fine.
okay, okay. I'm sorry, I missed that thing.
It's okay.
Okay, so e takes f5. And, sorry, this was not the c8 and e takes. Huh. This was the major thing which was covering. Yeah, knight e5. Uh, f5, knight e3 is the best move. But what we were saying is f3, king f6, king f2, and hereafter I will just follow this game. That's right. Screen is visible, right? Okay. King e6. Here my opponent played king e3, and now it's a perfect time to go for d5 here. Okay, I played this move d5, and e takes d5, king takes d5. Uh, my opponent could have played knight e3 any time here in between to block the d5 square because it's so crucial that it does not allow the rook to penetrate to c3, or it doesn't allow the rook to go to c2, and most importantly it defends the d4 pawn as well. Okay, I hope you understand this. Any question? So from white, if you have to uh, create a kind of fortress, knight has to come from c3 to c4 to e3 and then to d5. And the aim is to defend this b4 pawn. That's the major aim. With whenever you are in the defending side, try not to capture any pawns unless or until your opponent gives away something. Okay? So d5, e takes d5, king takes d5. Okay? Now g3. G3 is a careless move, first of all. Okay, very, very careless move from my opponent because now you have to understand one idea which is very, very important. Can you find out the correct move for black here? Don't look at the notation, just say whatever you feel is the correct move. G3 is a very, very careless move from white. Can you find out the correct move here? Rook sack. Okay. Actually, I should not show that notation, but fine. Okay. Any other good move can you find, Shubham? Acha, let me rephrase my question. Instead of g3, what can white would have played here? White can. Okay, I will show that example too. Someone played another move here. There also rook sack came. Okay. So here the major move for black now is to sacrifice the rook. Why should we sacrifice the rook? I will just show you in a moment. Why I'm saying sacrifice the rook? Rook is worth 5 points, knight is worth 3 points, and even if I capture this rook with knight with the rook, I am giving away 5 points to get my opponent's 4 points. That's it. Okay. Is this a fair deal? Yes, it does. Why it's a fair deal? Because you can now see the difference in the position pretty clearly. Black is only a pawn up here. You can see the material below. Black is only a pawn up, but positionally he is getting b4 next, and then a5 next, and these two pawns will now be classified as passed pawns and they are ready for promotion. Okay, this is the main reason why we should sacrifice the rook, and it's just so intuitive to see that rook takes c4, pawn takes c4, and king takes c4 is just a dead win for black. Have you understood why rook sacrifice works here? Will you play this when you have any tournament match? Please put a thumbs up or say yes. Will you play it on 14th? That's the D-Day, guys. If you put if you play a rook sacrifice or an exchange sacrifice in the near future, put it in the group that we have played this move. The chess.com will give you a great move or a brilliancy, and you can just, if you are able to sacrifice your rook for any minor piece, then that means your game is improving and you are able to see the potential benefits of gaining a square. That was the main idea. So after that, it should be a cakewalk, but I will show you how the game ended. Here, my opponent played g4. I did not disturb the king side at all, just took the pawn. f4, I just played e4 here. No need to take this pawn and do the opponent a favor by giving them an active play here. Okay, then you are able to force this, and then this, then this just delays the inevitable and also gives a counterplay to your opponent. They can play king g5, you have to play king g4. This is winning for black surely, but why to give so much counterplay when you are just absolutely crushing them on the front foot? a5, king h7, a4, king g6, a3, g5, a2, king f7, a1 queen, g6, king to c5, g7. Uh, okay, let me go. Queen takes g7. Oh, sorry. b5, not b6. We have two squares: b5, king f6, b4, king e5, b3. This, and queen. And I hope you know how to checkmate the king with the queen. Here we go. Okay, we need to this. I can just literally pre-move this. Sorry. Yeah. This, 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 this. And queen g7 checkmate. Okay. This is just for a reference. It's not mandatory. I can just finish it off here as well. So I played e4 here. My opponent took here. I took, and h4, h5. No counterplay of the king side at all. King to d4, king takes a5, and once my opponent played king e5, sorry, king d5 here, and I just pushed this pawn, and notice that this pawn is unstoppable. We will cover this idea in the king plus pawn versus king ending, which is going to come in like 4 to 5 days after this. After 5 days, we will cover this as well. But idea is we need king and pawn and give when the pieces are gone, but the pieces only then we have to do what, that's what we explored. So the main idea here is to sacrifice the rook. This is tough to see. You will not be able to see it earlier. No problems, there is no hard and fast rule. Just you have what you have to do is keep your composure and try to, in night, I will just give you a golden rule. Just try to sacrifice your rook or try to play naturally if you are getting the pawns. But if the position is getting deadlocked, try to bring your king to the knight as close as possible, and then, if possible, try to sacrifice your rook for the knight if you are getting an extra pawn from the white side. Like in this position, I got knight and pawn for my rook. Okay, and these two are byproducts. But even if you not get these two, if you get this position where you are having a pawn up, this is decisive in king's pawn endgame in most of the cases. So you can win this pretty easily again. Okay, so I hope you understood it. Let's see the last game today. B5. Here white was. This was also from today's position only, today's tournament. And let's see how white could have, both colors could have played better. B5. You forgot n% here. Please don't do it. n% को कभी भी भूलो मत if it gives a tidy advantage. Most of the positions में opponent forget about n% pretty easily. Like it happened today. B5 should not be played here by black at any cost because he is losing on the spot. Rook c1. Opponent, she played knight b6. He played rook c1, king h2, rook d1, knight d7. Now this pawn is going, but I don't know why he played f5. Rook takes d3 was possible straight away, and you are a pawn up, and then you can just mop over the white pawns pretty easily. F5, f3. The f5 idea should have been played very very early. I mean, from the first move itself, you got away with this b5, but if would have been a good player or a better player somewhere. I mean, if you are playing an inter-house competition and you are having a 1400 opponent at your disposal, he will not leave you with this. Let me be very very frank with you. You have to crush them under the debris. That's how the competition goes. So I mean, it is tough, I know it. I'm not saying we are just here to train ourselves, but please remember this point. So I think Anirban is playing black. Please remember, bro. F3, rook takes d3. You took the pawn now. Fine. Knight b6, rook b3, knight d5. See, she has somehow placed her knight onto d5 to protect this b4 pawn. So, inadvertently, you have placed your knight on the center of the board to protect the b4 pawn. Now, king f7. Actually, now it is possible to play rook d3 and sacrifice this. Okay, because you have already gained one pawn for it. That's the point. And you can win this endgame easily if you know the king's pawn endgame. King e6, knight c7. The pawn was given for free. Knight b8, king b7, knight a6, king b7. E takes f5. Okay, this is a good move. G takes f5 is a brilliant move, but I can't annotate it. Okay, no problem. But it's a brilliant move. Okay, kudos, bro, because you can capture this afterwards as well, but no need to give counterplay at all. So, desperate, lucky try, and king c6 was a horrible blunder. I encouraged you for g takes f5, but it is a horrible blunder because you just missed this pretty simple move. D takes c5 would have netted the knight immediately, and that was it. It should have been a winning endgame for sure. Okay, king c6, knight takes b3, and you just gave away the rook. White is winning. White is in fact, it's countdown for mate, I guess. Nope. Yeah. D5, a6, f4, king g4, king d6, knight a5, king e6, a7, queen d3, queen c6. Okay, I can't criticize much here because you have very low time. But idea is to capture this pawn somehow, and then when the d3 plays, queen d3 or queen e2 or even queen f1, anything works, or even queen c4, and then going to here also works. Queen f4, we chose the hardest move, but fine. In d5, queen d1, again queen d3 was possible. Double attack, double check. Okay, so queen d1, no issues. Queen takes d2. Now you gave the intermezzo, so congratulations. Knight c4, very good move. Now here, if I could suggest an improvisation, it would be queen d6. Play as much forcing moves as possible. Knight d5, and let's say you play here queen e7 and whatnot, and it's a checkmate. Yeah, game is over. And this, then maybe this checkmate. And if I play here, then queen f7 and queen f8 is checkmate. Everywhere where black king is being hit so hard. Okay, king f6, queen d6. You played the idea, so kudos. King f7, again you could have played knight e5 here. Forcing moves always works. Queen e7, queen g5. And let me show you the idea again. Queen f7 and queen f8, or king h8, queen f8. That's it. It's simple, but it will take time to gather for you. So fine, knight e5. You are delaying the response. You are not giving it immediate, but you are reaching the correct position again and again. King g7, king h5 again was unnecessary. You can just directly finish the game. That's it. It's a checkmate and no. And if sorry, then if this, then maybe this should be checked. Yeah, h6, queen h6. See, you are delaying. And here, king takes h6. Uh, okay, this is a stalemate which was hard to digest, but you are having a mate in one, knight g6 check. Okay, so I'm not criticizing you. There is no way to criticize because I was worser than you when I started my chess career. It was around 8 years ago. So I'm not criticizing you. My coaches have also been far more, authority, had an authority on me and made me learn these types of good forcing moves. It has taken a lot of training to accompany this. But what I'm trying to say is, if you are having a rook versus knight position, and if you are playing with the rook, you have to be very very careful to choose the moves. Okay, and the main takeaway of today's class is, try to sacrifice the rook for knight. If even if you are gaining only one pawn, that's enough. If you are gaining knight and one pawn, and if the pawns are equal on the board, then you can just sacrifice the rook, and the king pawn ending will be mostly 99% of win. Okay, and if sorry, I have some mosaic today. And if you have an rook with you, you have to just uh, use your king as much as possible in the battle to reduce the squares that are occupied by the knight, so as the knight will have limited mobility, and wherever the knight tries to create a fortress, you can again sacrifice the rook. So both ideas have to work in tandem. Sorry. Rook has to, first of all, king has to support the position, hold the squares which are being controlled by the knight, so that the rook can sacrifice itself to maintain a winning position for black. Okay, this is the only way in which you can break the resistance of uh, the player who is playing with the white knight. And if you are having a knight versus rook, and you are on the defending side, that is, you are having a knight, you should be very very happy that you can actually, more often than not, more than 50% or 60% of the games are win. Okay, I'll show you today's statistics. Okay, and today's statistics was, there is a details thing. Tournament complete, average rating 1578, total games played 28, and white wins. Can you see white wins today? 46%. Oh wow. And black wins only 39. A draw is 14%. 46, mother 50%. That is like 13 games finished on win for white. Can you imagine this? Where white is on a disadvantage and still it has managed to win 46% of the games. That is the power of knight. So in the end game, my preference and my personal choice is to have the knight on your arsenal. You can just torment your and under time pressure. The good thing about knight is it also doesn't need much of a thinking. It cannot travel far. L shape, it can only travel in L shape here and there, and L shapes are like 4 or 5 moves only, and you can just in a second or minuscule just calculate what where it goes, where it is best, and just play the position of pre-move it. For other pieces, it takes some time to process because they can travel from here and there and one corner to the other corner, but knight cannot do it. But in endgame, this becomes a strength. So if you are having knight versus rook, you should be very very happy that you can actually turn it around and win it quite handsomely. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. It was a bit tough today, I know it, but koi baat nahi. I think you will learn it. Just one more thing, not here, not this. This was the game. This was not the game. There was one more game where someone sacrificed the what should I say? What's a Lanka? This was not the game. When- Yeah. Okay. There was one game which I saw where someone played knight b6 and there was a sacrifice which happened on the board with b6. That was also an example of rook sacrifice. Okay. Think I don't remember who played it, but yeah, there was some sacrifice on that sort as well. So I will just send those things to you. But the main takeaway today is if you have knight versus rook, and even if you are getting just one pawn for extra for that material, grab it happily and go and liquidate it into the king pawn ending with a one pawn advantage on your part. You will definitely win it, 100% sure. So I hope you enjoyed it today. Any questions, please ask. There has been a lot of delay today, but the topic is tough, so I took some time today to, make you understand things pretty efficiently. This is not enough, on honestly, but with practice, you will be able to improve it a lot better. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Have you understood it?